We are here in downtown Walla Walla with Steve Burns. Steve, you ran the Washington Wine Commission for about 8 years. Now you've moved on. You live in California, but you still have ties to the Washington wine industry. Give us some perspective on what the wine industry was like when you arrived, and then what it looks like now from a distant, more of a distant perspective.
Well, I'm so proud to have been part of the Washington wine business. I arrived here in 1996. There were 80 wineries in the whole state. There's more than that in Walla Walla, I guess, right now. But what was so exciting for me is I remember my first trip to the Walla Walla Valley. There were 8 wineries. We had a barbecue, and I remember the Figginses brought potato salad, and Rick Small did the sausages with John Abbott on the grill, and it was a great day, and it was just such a great welcome to Washington State. And I had those experiences in Yakima with 13 wineries, and in Woodinville with 7 wineries, and it was a great time. And since that time, it's grown quite a bit. We had this period where we were adding a new winery every 14 days in Washington State. It was a great, heady growth period. But what I think still remains now is a unity that we don't see in other parts of West Coast wine country. And I think, I don't know where they are now, 5, 6, 7, 800 wineries in Washington State, but I think the unity, the focus on quality, the support of the neighbor, and the support of the general category of Washington wine is what's missing in California. Apparently it was there in Napa and Sonoma years ago, but the competition has overcome that, and I think in Washington State I still see camaraderie. I still see sharing, and I see new innovation with new wines, new styles. It's very exciting to get away and then come back and experience it all.
Now, when you were here and you were working in Seattle but spending time in Eastern Washington, you were up to your eyeballs in Washington wine. It probably didn't give you a chance to understand where Washington's place was in the wine world. Now that you live in Sonoma County, what has changed in that perspective?
Well, I see Washington wines have true credibility. I think they're viewed as, from a Sonoma Napa perspective, as people making great wines, as a region to, when they go to taste a series of Cabernets or Merlots or Syrahs, or particularly Rieslings these days, they're going to taste them with a Washington wine. They wouldn't do that tasting these days without a Washington wine. There are lots of restaurants in San Francisco with Washington wines on the list. It's not a peculiarity or an anomaly. It's something that's part of their portfolio. And I think that kind of, not normalcy, but that kind of part of the wine team of the West Coast is very exciting. And when I arrived in '96, I remember thinking that Oregon really had that already, and we were aspiring for that. And I think that Washington has achieved that and still kept the quality.
I know it's probably difficult for you to kind of speak about the industry because you're not in that job anymore, but you've got to take a certain amount of pride in where the industry has come even since you've left.
So exciting. I'm so proud, and I think probably I have to say that that having a presence like Chateau Ste. Michelle or Ste. Michelle Wine Estates has really allowed this industry to leapfrog over the competition in many ways. I remember Dave Adelsheim in Oregon always saying Washington is becoming what Oregon will never become because they don't have that leader, that critical mass, that national marketer. And so, you know, the great thing about Washington wines is when someone in Omaha, Nebraska tastes a Washington wine for the first time, most likely that's Columbia Crest, and they're going to say, well, that's great value for money, that wine's worth twice as good, that's a killer wine, and I can have that wine every day of the week. And the next week they might be having Woodward Canyon or Hogue or Chinook or something else. And so it's really, really that kind of icebreaker for the Washington wine category around the nation is priceless.
How often do you make it up to Washington?
Once a quarter.
Yeah?
I see a bunch of wineries I don't even know now, so it's clearly I've been away too long and I can't keep up. It's growing so quickly.
And what do you miss most about Washington?
I think I miss the camaraderie, the friendliness, the feeling of being on the edge of new things, of exploration. I think there's a respect for history, but also an appreciation for what's new and what's next. I'm heavily involved with a new winery called Cataretta, and it attracted me because it's a Washington family trying to do things in a different way, in the right way, in a small way, making wines that are not overpriced, that are not over-extracted, that are not over-alcoholic. I think, and wanting a family that wants to be part of the Washington wine scene. They were attracted to the Washington wine scene because of the people and the camaraderie, and also, of course, the great wines.
Great. Well, thank you, Steve.
Thank you.